One and all, 6:30. We've called a special city council meeting this day on August 21st, year 2012. I'd like to acknowledge the press and public have been duly notified. Thanks all for coming. I say that, and then the next item, I'd like to request a motion to reorder the agenda to go into executive session. Now, item 6 on our agenda list, to receive legal advice and discuss the negotiations.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second to go in executive session. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. You might want
Any
to let
opposed?
the
No.
audience.
What we're going to do is
That's the motion to reorder. You still
Yeah.
need a motion for your
Yes,
executive
that's right, you're
session.
right.
Oh, thank you very
Sorry.
much. Oh, very good. All right,
Mr. Mayor,
please.
I move we go into executive session for receipt of legal advice and discussion of negotiations incident to proposed transfer of property interests in road and water way.
Motion and second. All right, now we have a motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. We're
All
going to go
opposed?
upstairs.
Leave you all down.
Normally, we ask everybody to leave, and then we battle out legal advice here, but we're going to go upstairs and leave you all here to be comfortable. I cannot predict our return,
But we
but we will return.
It's a better idea to go upstairs.
I don't think Sandy's coming. It's a joke.
Jiminy, we killed a tree.
5 years from now.
This is hard.
The future sales and it ain't gonna be green property. We're gonna sell it. It's green space. Government says that green space forever.
Okay, everybody's here.
I make a motion to come out of executive session.
We don't need one for coming out.
No, we don't need one?
We are out of executive session. We discussed, received legal advice and discussed the negotiation ongoing, dealing with the interest in the road properties. We made no decisions, and we're here now back in session and on the record. Is that correct, Marie?
Yes, sir, you will.
All right, I love that sort of talk. All right, before us, we have item 2 on our hit parade here, second reading of ordinance 2012-2, an ordinance authorizing the release by quitclaim deeds, City of Isle of Palms, interest in property identified as Casino and 18th Avenue to Pastime Amusements. First, I'd like to make a motion that we amend the ordinance from first reading to the ordinance before us today titled Final Draft for Second Reading with Amendments. Does that sound right, Sterling? So far?
And that would be, the final draft with amendments would be the one that conveys both roads, has the changes that conveys both roads.
Right, Casino and 18th.
That's right.
Okay, so I'll make that change as a motion. Do I
I'll
have a
second that motion.
Motion and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, any nays? Motion carries, thank you. So now we have before us ordinance 2012-2 titled Final Draft for Second Reading with Amendments that conveys both Casino and 18th Avenue to Pastime Amusements. And I have a motion to approve that ordinance.
So moved.
Motion and seconded? I'll second it. Okay, let's discuss it. We have before us the ordinance that conveys both avenues, Casino and 18th Avenue, which is the pinch point on this discussion that we've been having. Any comments? No comments.
I'd like to, go ahead.
I'd just like to say that by the city deeding over 18th Avenue, we're taking away the possibility of the city being responsible for maintaining that road once it's initially paved and improved. And I'd like to think that by doing so, we're going to save the taxpayers money for a road that no one really uses other than the delivery 18-wheelers that are going to, I believe, chew up any road that's paved back there.
Okay, any other comments?
Okay, so this is
Jimmy?
deem both Casino and 18th to pastime.
That's the motion on the floor, correct.
And so we would not have control over 18th,
Correct.
and they would take care of the maintenance, the paving. Now, if the 18th wasn't on there, then we would control 18th Avenue, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'd like to amend the motion amend the current motion to identify only Casino Avenue.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend second reading of 2012-2 to deal only with Casino Avenue.
Right.
Second.
Motion and second.
Okay, and with that amendment, just to clarify, and please, if anyone disagrees with this, tell me. I believe that now means that the ordinance that we're considering is the one marked final draft for second reading, revisions from original, because that ordinance, that
That's,
draft conveys casino only.
I was going to ask Councilman Ward if that was his intention, because,
We would keep 18th, and we'd be responsible for the maintenance. After
pastime.
pastime. But, outside of what the county would normally do, which comes along once every 672 years.
What's your question?
well, I guess my question, we had two ordinances here. There's two versions of the ordinance. There's one that is, would convey, basically, to keep it simple, would convey both roads to pastime amusement. And
That's the primary motion.
That's the primary motion that's on the table.
There's
that
an
you
amendment
made.
to the motion that
The
was,
second motion, as Councilman Ward says, is to revert from the original motion made to the one we're calling the second reading from the original. And that one we're talking about right now. Is that correct?
That's correct.
correct.
Okay. So we have to do, so we're amending the motion to move it to the first motion?
We have to vote on the amendment.
That's correct.
Correct. We got it.
Okay.
All right.
Any further discussion? I agree with Marty. I'll make a comment. I think maintaining 18th shouldn't be a city obligation, since none of the residents of the city will be using it, but
Okay, I disagree. I think it's real important that, from the residential quality of life, that we, maintain that footprint the way it is now, and that the city maintains ownership of 18th. One thing to be considered is that part of this plan is to convert 1801 Palm into a passive park. And by having control of 18, that allows the city a number of other options as far as developing that passive park and have access to that park. Under the second, or the final draft with amendment motion that was originally proposed, the only access to that park would be via Palm Boulevard, which I think would be a traffic hazard. And I think it's important that the city council looks forward 10 years from now, 15 years now, what could be done with that property? And I think to protect that footprint for residential quality of life for the next generation is very important. And that's why I feel we should
Okay.
maintain 18th.
all right. Any other comments? None heard. All in favor of the amendment to the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay?
No.
Nay, 2 noes. All right, now we have on the floor consideration final draft for second reading showing revisions from original.
That's correct.
Which basically says we're conveying Casino Avenue only. So any further discussions on that?
And just one. That's not to say that that 18th Avenue couldn't be conveyed at any time in the future.
Well,
So,
yeah, anything can be
correct.
done
I'm
or
just saying,
undone.
right now, but it gives us the option,
Okay.
whereas the first one would not have. So,
Very good. Any further discussion?
I think an amendment is in order on this present ordinance to indicate that the the amount the city will pay will be the, whichever is the less of our Greenbelt funds or the appraised value. And I'm looking to the attorney to see if that would be proper wording.
You can, yes. Well, I would say you can, the motion is to pass that version of the ordinance, and you can make it conditioned upon changing the language so that it is contingent upon the appraisal value being 474,305 or more.
Right.
That might be the easiest way to word it.
That's what I meant.
Those are the words he was going to say.
I got that thought.
Is not the number 395, am I mistaken? 305? Okay.
He needs that.
Okay.
All right,
Did Marie get that?
I am concerned about that language. Let's refer to page 2 of the document, top of the page.
The red line.
You're all right.
The red line, the one marked final draft for
It is
second reading
305.
showing revisions from original, which seems to be the favored version at this time. That is where the language is that mentions the 474,305 at the top of that page.
Right.
That's where they get confused at.
So we're not talking about the agreement, we're talking about the ordinance here.
Right.
And so what we need is the appropriate language to make sure that the city is paying the appraised value up to 474,305.
That's exactly what
Because we know we cannot get any more than 474,305 from the Greenbelt.
Right.
But, and we know that they're not going to authorize anything less than the appraised value.
Okay.
Okay.
That works.
Do we get that, Marie?
Sure.
Is that your motion?
Yes,
Or
it
amendment
is.
to the motion?
Yes, it is.
All right. Do we have a second on the amendment? Second. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard? Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, what was the vote on the amendment? Do you know? 6-2? Thank you.
6-2.
Okay. So now we have before us final draft second reading showing revisions from original with amendment before us. Any further discussion on this? None heard? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Following in close proximity to that, and closely coupled, is the approval of the execution of the agreement between the city and the Beach Company of Pastime Amusements. You're all in possession of an agreement, and I have too much paper. We're into we're into the second, I'll call it a second agreement, but the draft agreement which only deals with 18th Avenue. No.
No, sir. Let me help you here.
Yes.
I think the agreement that would be under consideration on the basis of the
Oh,
ordinance
alternative
that just passed would be alternative one of the agreement where we're conveying only one road.
Correct.
So it would be the agreement marked alternative one. That is consistent with the action that you just took on the ordinance. The one comment that I would make is that likewise, this would need language changes to stipulate that the city would pay the appraised value of the property up to $474,305.
Okay.
So moved.
That's a motion and seconded. I'll second it. So we have an amendment to the alternative one agreement. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, none heard. So we have the agreement, alternate one, in front of you. Any discussion on this? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard, motion carried. Now we're at item 4 on our hit parade, approval of acceptance of 18th Avenue as a public road. and the dedication of 56808 double lot 021 as a passive park once they are transferred at closing. So I'll make that as a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard. Motion carries. Now we're at the approval of $474,305 for the purchase of unimproved property identified as tax map number 56808, double lot 021, 1801 Palm Boulevard, subject to the appraised value coming in at or above that value. I'll make that as a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard? All right, motion carries. At this point, I see no further need for an executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
And wish you bon voyage, and it's 8 o'clock, and we're out of here.
I know that was hard to watch.